Okay, so now in this video what we're going to do is that we're going to create an animation for the game over object. So what we're going to do first is that we're going to hide our get ready image. So select it here in the hierarchy and hide it in inspector, and we're going to select our game over object and just check it so we can see it here in the scene. Alright, so we're going to animate this whole thing. Okay, so select our game over object in the inspector, select the container of everything, and when we have it selected we can go to the animation window and hit create. So we're going to select our assets, animations, and we're going to create a new folder, and this new folder we're going to call it game over, and inside this game over we're going to create our animation. So let's call it a game over anim, for example. Let's click save, and now we can click the record button, and now we can see that initially our game over animation is at position 0. So what we want to do is that we want to move the whole thing up. We can move it over here, and then so it's now at position 1142 on the Y, and at a certain point, so we're gonna move the white line maybe at 0.2. we want to change the position of Y to 0 over here. So we can see that it goes like this. Maybe it's coming too quick, so let's just select the last keyframe and drag it to the right, so we make it a little bit slower like this. I think it looks fine, maybe a little bit too quickly. Okay, I think that's good. So now we can click the recording button again, and now that we have this animation, we can actually just implement it. So to implement this animation, we can go to the animator window, and we can see that whenever we enter the game, so when we start the game, we're going to immediately call this animation. But what happens is that this game object initially is set active to false. So this is only going to execute, this animation is only going to execute when this game object is set active equals to true, is set to active. So that's the only moment that when this object is going to actually activate. So we don't have to actually specify any new state in here. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go to our Visual Studio, and in Visual Studio we're going to go to our game manager script, and in here we want to actually we want to see when we are actually activating the game over canvas. So when the game is over, we're saying that game over canvas.setActive equals true. So what we want to do here is that we want to wait a second, and then we want to set the game over canvas equal to true. So to do this, we're going to create a new method here called void, and we're going to call this method activate game over canvas. So if we activate the game over canvas, what we're doing here is that we are actually setting the animation to true. We are activating the animation. So with the game over canvas, what we're going to do is that we're going to cut this code and copy it over here, and we're going to call this method inside the game over method, but with 1 second of delay. So in Unity we have a special way to do this, and it's with the invoke function. So we type in invoke, and inside the invoke function we type in the name of the method that we want to invoke inside quotation marks. So we open quotes, and then we say activate game over canvas, and then we say comma, and then we specify the amount of time that we want to wait. So we want to wait 1 second. So 1 second, and then type in a semicolon. Alright, so we already have that. Okay, so now that we have that, everything should work fine. Just make sure that making sure that everything is right. Okay, so now let's go to the Unity editor. Let's hide the game over object, sorry, and let's make the get ready image visible. Let's hit play, and now if we die, you might see that it takes 1 second, but as you can see the animation is in loop mode. So let's select our game over again, let's go back to the animation, to the animator, let's double click the game over anim, and let's uncheck the loop time, So now we hit play, everything should work fine. So the animation comes down and we can press OK. Okay, so we have the animation coming down. One thing we want to do is that we want to have the medal initially set to inactive. So we want to deactivate the medal initially, and we want to activate it when this animation finishes. So to do this, we're going to select the medal. So just click here in the panel. So we can see the medal, and initially we're going to uncheck the medal. So if we hit play and we play the game, now we can see that when the game over panel comes down, there's no medal. All right, so now what we want to do is that we want to create an event in the game over object animation, and here we want to create an event. So when the animation ends, create an event, and in this event we're going to call a function. But to do this, we need to first create a script. So let's go to the project, to the animations, no, to the scripts folder, and inside the animations folder, let's create a new script. We will call the script game over anim, and just make sure you double click it, game over anim. Inside this script we will delete everything, and we'll just create a method called void on game over animation ends, and when it ends we want to set the medal equal to active. We want to activate the medal, so we need a reference to the medal first. So public game object medal, like this, and inside this method we're going to say medal dot set active true, like this. All right, so now if we go back to the Unity editor, we need to make sure that this game over animator is attached to our game over object. So drag it and attach it to the game over object. So now if we select the game over object, we can see that the game over script is attached to it, and we have the medal reference. So we need to create a reference to the medal. So let's drag the medal game object onto here, and then click save. And now if we play the game, we can see that when the game over panel comes down, the medal should be activated, but it says the animation. Okay, so there's one thing missing, and it's very easy to forget things when you're doing animation, because there are so many references, there are so many things that you have to do in the animation that it's not complicated, but it's a little bit confusing, and it's easy to forget things. So in the animation window, if we select the game over, we forgot to actually specify the event. So when the animation finishes, we want to specify the event. So on game over animation ends. Okay, so this is the method that we want to actually apply. So now you just hit Ctrl S, save the game, and now whenever the game over panel comes down, when it finishes coming down, then the medal appears. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.